Live.
Tiffany Pennsatucky Doggett on Orange is the New Black, which comes back next month for season 2. How are you cast in the role?
How was I cast? I don't know. I did find out that they auditioned several actresses, and I got the offer, so I never knew that they had been auditioning, so many amazing actresses until I moved to New York, and then met some women on the street or at a restaurant that were like, I auditioned for your role. And I was like, you did? I'm like, tell me everything. And I always thought that was kind of neat. Like, I didn't know that. So I think I was cast just because I'm the type of actor that's, I don't know, maybe willing to go places to the dark place. I'm kind of weird, but I'm also kind of normal too. I don't know. It's just a fun role to play. Very fun.
Do you think it would have felt better or worse to know at the time that you were competing for the role with other different actresses?
That's an interesting question because where I studied acting, which was pretty much since I was about 14, I went to a class religiously that ended up having a lot of working famous actors come out of it, and our teacher was very competitive. Like we started off our whole acting class with a ball game because it was a way of sort of showing like who wants it more in a sense. And though I think art and acting is like very subjective, it's like you might love a movie that I don't understand at all. Um, um, he instilled competitiveness, so I don't know if that would have hurt me or helped. Like I've competed against other actresses. I've auditioned. It's however you want to use that word. But yeah, I'm comfortable with it.
Pennsatucky over the course of the first season gets darker and more dangerous as the season goes along. Did you know how that whole story arc was going to progress? When you first got the role.
No, I didn't. It was I got this script, and my manager, who knows me, pretty well, he said, "You got a script today and an offer, and it's a little different than normal." And I'm like, "Great, bring it." And he's like, "But I need you to read this and really decide if this is something that you want to play." And he's like, "It's for Netflix. It's a newer platform, but Genji Cohen's a creator from Weeds." And he said he read the script and it was amazing, in its totality. And then I read my part and I was like, oh yeah, that's fun. I'd love to do it. And 2 days later, I was off to New York to do it. So it happened really quickly.
Now, being part of this Netflix series, this idea of original content for online services is still sort of new. Orange is the New Black is one of the early new shows for Netflix, and it sort of benefits binge watching. You can watch them all at once in the first day
Yeah.
if you want to. Are you someone who's prone to sort of binging on shows? Do you think that's a good way to sort of appreciate Orange is the New Black?
I'm not. I'm definitely somebody that can, get on one in a sense of if I get into something, it's like all in. I'd have to be like sick or something and laid out. I'm too hyper of a person to just like sit and watch. Um, but yeah, I mean, I know that a lot of people really enjoy the aspect of being able to watch it uh, at their leisure, pause it, do all that, rewatch it, and I know they get pretty bummed if they watch it too soon. Then they're like, "Whoops, I already watched it all." But I do think it's an interesting platform, and I think it's really been very advantageous, as we can see. I think it's working great. I'm not so much that type of viewer. I listen to a lot of music, and I binge on documentaries. But I do love, I truly do genuinely love the content that Netflix has been putting out. I think it's stellar. The writing is stellar. House of Cards is stellar. And yeah, I just think that they're really doing well. I'm very proud of them.
Your character Pennsatucky, she walks a very fine line between comic and also very menacing. Was that a consideration for you while you were playing the role, giving her that sort of element of comedy, but also taking her seriously enough so that we see her as a real threat?
Yeah, and I think that I mean, from my perspective, on the page, she was written, kind of more menacing, and she aired towards that. And I think as an actor, what I wanted to bring to her is like that, like what a goof. Like who does this girl think she is? And I didn't really. I'm not gonna say I didn't try to do that, but it was important to me because some of the things she says are just so wrong. They're just so wrong, morally, ethically, they have nothing to do with God. So, my way to try and make this villain likable was like just make her outrageous, just over the top. And I never set out to make her funny. I definitely set out to scare, and I think because of it, it was funny
Now, Pennsatucky
at
is
times.
Pennsatucky is pretty loathsome a lot of the times, but her background is also pretty sad. Did you find yourself, when you're playing her, did you have sympathy for her, or do you think she's just basically unredeemable?
I I had a lot of sympathy for her, and not because I relate to her because she's very different from me, as far as again like moral compass and like, my beliefs and my spirituality and like that path that I walked just as me. She was it was fun because I completely got to play and I get to play this character, which is for an actor, all of us actors, anybody listening, it's our dream, come true. So yeah, I just blanked on on the rest of the question. Sorry, I got lost in my actor head. Um, well, we
I,
do
I,
that sometimes.
I was just wondering if you think she's
Oh,
a redeemable team man.
yeah, yeah. So back to that, I do feel that anybody going through, something like that, and also that acts that way, I do feel that they've come from potentially a place not highly educated for one, to not a lot of love at all. Was she ever maybe shown love, affectionate wise? And she also grew up with a lot of brothers, so it's like, I don't know if anybody was really there for her to look up to in like in a mentor way. And then you add a serious drug addiction on top of that, and the type of drug she was doing, it can really warp your mind. So I add all those factors in. I don't have a ton of compassion for people that fall off on methamphetamine. I find it to be a very devastating, tragic drug. Just, things I've watched and seen in my life. But yeah, if you can come out of that, I think that there's always like a beautiful person in there that's numbing pain due to something.
Yeah, yeah, as you mentioned, Pennsatucky does spout a lot of religious speech, a lot of it fairly hateful. And her first act of supposed religious extremism when she killed the abortion provider is really actually a misunderstanding that it wasn't a religious act at all. Do you think she eventually, she believes her own hype at all, or is the conversion, the religious, she found Jesus? Is that just a long con?
Is it a long con in her mind? Like is she that calculated that she's just gonna buy into it and to get out of jail? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, basically, like, does she believe that she has this eventually when she's in prison? Does she believe that she has this real spirituality, or is she still just faking it?
I think the way that I look at Pennsatucky, and this might be odd. This is probably like the musician in me, but it's the same way as like some artists when they get extremely revered, and I understand it that they kind of feel invincible. I mean, I love Miley Cyrus. I love Justin Bieber. I've worked with Britney Spears. I worked with Marshall and Eminem. Like I've seen fans go completely berserk. So to like push that into Pennsatucky when she walks into that courtroom and she has fans and they're like, you know, just egging her on. It's like she's so insecure and everything she does is so ego based that she's like, oh yeah, I'll believe in God. How about this? I am God. Because she's not all there, but yeah, you're right. Like she knows what to do to get out of prison. So she's calculated, but all the while I think that she believes like she has a voice because look at all these people backing me up, you know? And it's sort of that same complex. Like we're all equal, but if you have enough people telling you how great you are, you might start to believe your own hype in a sense.
Now, the first season ended in a pretty shocking cliffhanger. Piper had turned the tables and she was beating Pennsatucky half to death. Did you even know at that point when you were filming that whether or not you'd be back for season 2 or whether that would be it for Pennsatucky?
Yeah, I had no idea, and I was like, she deserves it. My character had that coming. Yeah, I was like, oh, great, they're writing me off the show. What did I do? Did I show up late for work? But that's just like insecure acting, like, uh-oh, where did I go wrong? No, but it was it was an awesome scene. Yeah, I mean, she truly, beat Pennsatucky up pretty bad. So yeah, I think it's truly like we don't know if she's dead or alive because it was brutal, and if you hit somebody right in that right spot in their head, they can die. So it is realistic that she could not be with us anymore. Back home to her, back home to heaven.
Well, you were promoted to a season regular, series regular for the second season. Is that right?
Yeah, I was, yeah. So yeah, that kind of gives it
What
away.
was it like to get that news?
To get that news? Is that what you said?
Yeah, like what was your reaction to? Yeah, what was your reaction to finding out that not only were you not being killed off the show, but that you were sort of being promoted to a regular now all of a sudden?
Well, I was like, am I gonna be a ghost? Am I gonna haunt everybody? Like I didn't know like what they were gonna do with her. Yeah, I mean, I was so excited. The show, it was received so well quickly that it was exciting, and I love all my co-stars so much, and yeah, just in general, I was like, this is great. How awesome. And also, again, like the whole Netflix thing, in a way, it was kind of experimental. I mean, now you see it's just winning. I mean, House of Cards really set the tone, but I was just so happy for them too that their business model was just working out. And I could be a part of something like that, and like in a way, like pioneer something with like this group of amazing actresses. It was really really exciting.
Your role was recurring in season 1, so you're being entered as a guest actress at the upcoming Emmys. And for actors at the Emmys, you have to submit an episode of your best work to Emmy judges. If you're nominated, they'll decide the winners based on that. Do you know what episode you submit?
Um, yeah, it's tough for me. I was like, I don't know. As actors and artists, I think we're our worst enemies sometimes and our worst critics. So I called around to some friends and I was like, hey, what part of the show did you think I did best? Like just like, genuinely, like, and Netflix really thought that the last episode was a good way to show many of her colors in one episode. So I think we went with the last, like the finale, to really show like her arc as best you can.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
better news is if if viewers see that, if voters see that scene when they're judging, if you're nominated, and at that end scene where you're being beaten to death, perhaps they will have some sympathy for her at last, and
Let's let her win.
and
Poor thing.
that.
Yeah, I like that scene, or that whole. I like that episode. A lot goes on in that episode. I love it because it, it showcases like a lot of the talents. Like everything comes to that tipping point or that crescendo, and it's like, it was important that I was able to show the people that if you only showed one episode, you might just think she's just mean, right? Or if you showed another one, you think she was just kind of odd. I kind of felt like that one summed her up. And again, I don't know. It's hard. It's so hard to pick out your best work, I guess. So I sort of let my reps, guide me, and we all came to the decision that might be the best one. I mean, it's definitely going to show Taylor and how tough she is. Piper, that is, beating me up. So to a pulp, but I think it's a great episode. The writing, everything. So I'm excited. It's all just great either way. I'm just happy to be on such a cool show.
You've been you sort of had an awards experience before. You were nominated for a SAG award as part of the ensemble cast of Hustle and Flow, and that whole movie was kind of an underdog story. This little independent movie becomes a festival hit and then goes all the way to the Oscars and the SAG nomination shared.
Yeah.
What was that whole experience like to be part of that? From the very beginning to that sort of Cinderella story at the end for that movie.
That movie was very, very, very special for me. Because sometimes as actors, for people that don't totally understand the process. And mind you, I'm still trying to understand the process after 16 years because it's like ever changing. But they had offered my role to another actress, and the movie was pushed a lot because with independent films, financing can fall through or just get pushed. And so because of the timing, she was getting married when they finally pulled the trigger to start production. And she was getting married and she didn't want to play a prostitute. So I was like second runner-up. I called it a good hand-me-down, if you will. So probably the best hand-me-down I've ever received. But I mean, in all due respect, like she's a wonderful actress. It just the timing worked out for me. And then Craig Brewer as a filmmaker. I've never worked with a first-time filmmaker. He had a wonderful short that I watched. I've never met someone who knew what they wanted, like so clearly. Like, I mean, down to the actors, the atmosphere, the music. I mean, it was truly just an amazing experience. And Terrence and I, we spent a lot of time together on set due to our relationship in the film, and like he's such a wonderful guy. We just had so much fun. Like I can't explain it. And then on top of it, made this film that it was kind of an underdog. And honestly, like on the page, it was a good script. It was. I wasn't blown away. Like I wasn't like, oh my God, this is. But that film with the actors jumped off the page, and it became. It took on a life, and it just went, and it was really magical. Oh yeah, and the SAG Awards was great. That was fun. Got a big giant gift bag, huge. I'm totally kidding, but that part I never experienced that. It was really neat. It was really neat to be there. I think that year Crash won, which was an amazing film, but it was so cool to be around everybody and all the different movies and actors, and it was good stuff.
In addition to acting, you've also built a music career. So do you think we'll get to ever see Pennsatucky the musical at some point?
That's hilarious. I don't know. Don't get things in my head because I'll run with it. I think that would be really funny. Yeah, I could see her trying to sing, and just being silly. But I do love music very much. What's funny is honestly most of the actresses on this cast all sing, like beautifully. it's intimidating. I'm like, I'm just gonna go over here to my corner while you guys belt like Whitney Houston. They're amazing. They really are. You know, dancers, actresses. I mean, it's a really, really just buzzing with talent set. It's really special.
Now that you have such a prominent acting role, how do you see balancing your acting work and your music? Is that going to change that balance of those for you, or is it pretty much going to be the same?
It's always been the same. I've always balanced it. You know, I travel a lot, and when I'm not working, or you know, after I'm done studying, and I feel really good about my scenes and everything. I mean, I just dive into music. Like I somehow find a studio close by where I am. I find someone that can cut my vocals for me, because I write a lot of like compositions that are sent to me. So I write the lyric and the melody, and then like I'll go lay down my vocals, and then I'll send it off to France to some like DJ that I've never met, and then all of a sudden a song will come back, and I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. But yeah, music's just a big part of my life. Like I said, I listen to more music than I do watch TV. Like I love film and documentaries, but if I have a lot of free time, I love music. It's my life. Like it's my heart. But I think it helps me be a better actor. You know, the music I listen to prepare for scenes, or music plays a big part. I mean, if you think about a film, and let's say you watch it with just the dialogue, and then they put in the score, it's like the whole thing just takes on a whole new life. You know, it provokes like tears, and music is a universal language to me, and you can go anywhere in the world and be like heard in a sense.
Well, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me about Orange is the New Black and your music. I want to wish you the best of luck at the Emmys coming up, and at the next season of Orange is the New Black. We will see if you spend the entire season as Pensatucky's ghost.
Ah. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thanks to everyone that tuned in.